right, welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching TV47 Breakfast with me, Ann Odida, and this morning being a Tuesday, we're talking matters biashara, mambo na pesa too. And today we want to step into a conversation that every young person is uncomfortable having. Are we saving? Are we investing? Are we just living life? So to help us make sense of this conversation this morning, we have Levi Mulasi, is a finance and analytics professional. We do have Benedict Mwikali as well. She's a financial advisor. And of course, Stanley Mutuku, huyu ni CEO of Lofty Coban. Atatuambia wanafanya nini huko. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for making time and for braving the rains. We do welcome you to be part of this conversation on our socials at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, Matukio Halisi on YouTube, TV47 Digital on X. Our WhatsApp line is also active 24/7 0793 267 279. Send us a voice note or a video of yourself if you do have a question or just to contribute to the conversation you're having. And you're going to ask some questions here. Do young people even have money to save? Yeah. Are you rushing into investments without knowledge? Tell us what you think. Are you saving kwenye uko ama wewe you're just living life? Let's just get right into this conversation, Levi. Tukianza nilikuwa nakuuliza kama jina lako ni Levi ama Levi. Manake unajua where I went to school.
Yes.
Ni Levi. Yes. Unataka uitwe aje?
Levi is the name.
Levi is the name.
Yes.
Lakini they're laughing, kuna mtu alikuwa shaanza kubucha akisema wewe unaitwa Levi.
Levi. Yeah, I accept. Kuna watu wananiita Levi, but Levi is the
potato. Ama wakikuita Levi unasikia ni kama unasikia trauma ya housing Levi, these Levis that you have in the country.
Most people call me that, and I've come to terms with it.
All right, let's get right into this conversation. You're talking matters money. From where you stand, are the young people saving money? Ama tuna live life?
Okay, going by the current state of economy, I think incomes are choked, and therefore young people have very little left to save. And therefore, if you don't have any disposable income or meager disposable income, then definitely you're going to spend it on survival other than saving. Yes.
So unasema hakuna pesa ya kusave?
Pesa iko, but now the way our economy is structured and the way it is going by our domestic policies, we are left with very little in our pockets. The cost of living is high. We are facing high taxes, and therefore liquidity is low, leading to consuming almost all that we earn. So there's nothing left as much. Yes.
Benedict, from where you sit, yeah? Tunasema hapa pesa ni kidogo, right? Economy is not doing very well. It's not favoring the young people. But how are you seeing the trends? Are we even trying, to save? Because sometimes tunaambiwa even 5 shillings, if you save it, it's better than not saving anything at all. But are the young people really saving money?
I would say most young people are not financially literate. They are living for the moments. So we have to teach them on how to plan for the future. So despite the economy being a little not stable, you ought to save at least for the future. Yeah.
Stanley, I do know that you are a company that deals with finances. I wonder if you're teaching the young people how to deal with money. Are you?
Thank you. And yes, that's one of our core business, to provide literacy into the market. Not just the young people, but across the divide.
Everybody.
Everybody. Because you find that some young people are well endowed and empowered to invest, not from an amount perspective, from a discipline perspective, which is very critical. That discipline is better than amount. And one of the key things that we are doing is to make people understand, build a relationship with their money, and then make decisions of their tomorrow. And we have no option. We must start saving, and then in the process, build an investment discipline. Yeah.
Looking at the trends, yeah, are the young people saving in comparison with the older generation? Because now you're dealing with everybody across the board. The young people, assuming age 15 to say 35 years. I wonder, 15 years wako na pesa kweli? But I'm assuming people who get pocket money maybe, right?
Yeah,
Wanapewa pesa na wazazi wakienda shule. And then now we have that range, 18 to 35 years old, the youth. And then now 36-year-olds move upwards. Who are saving more?
Now looking at the trends, and of course having been in the space for some time, things have changed. Actually, the young people are doing far much better than the middle class and even the older in terms of discipline. You can see an effort to putting money aside from the young people, even the ones who are going to school. They're coming to say, can I open an account even without an ID? And that is creating curiosity with us, what is happening. And then, of course, we are picking this from the information that is very available today, that was not before. There's a lot of education that is happening during high schools, university, and other colleges on investments. We are seeing trends where now even lecturers are inviting us to talk to students about investment. And so I can say the trend has changed. People are seeing the future differently, and they are more worried about the future than now. And then we go back to the trend that we always ask, and we encourage young people to actually even do it more, because they have a better opportunity to change their future than we had, because information is easily transferable. Now, if you look at the normal human being, they work for 40 years if you start working at 20, which is not the case. And then we say a normal human being, if we lived properly, will live between 80, 90, and 100 years. So we work for 40 years to finance 80 years. Because we retire at 60, there is no working. So the money that you work when you are working then has to finance the rest of your life. And so we ask ourselves, how is that financing going to be done? It's only going to be done if we become prudent and disciplined in saving our money now, growing into an emergency fund, and ensuring now after you have covered your emergency fund, then you start now investing, looking for better returning or growth opportunities, so that you can sustain the other 40 years that you'll not be earning.
Right. There's so much to debunk from what Stanley has, taken us through. But I want us to start from this point, when you start working, most of us start from the age of 20 to 20, thereabout. I started at 20, at 19 actually. So when did you start Levi? Looking at the, the timeline that Stanley has painted for us, how was yours?
I started working after campus. I was around 25 years old.
So the 20 age gap isn't quite realistic, right?
Yeah, it isn't quite realistic, but young people are trying as much as possible, more so nowadays that we have online jobs. Even those at the university are trying as much as possible to engage in activities that can generate them some income. So you find 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds having something that generates income for them. Yes.
Somewhere that they can, just ingiza mkono kwa mfuko, and then they get something to carry them along.
Yes.
Benedict, looking at this, age gap, when did you get into the job market?
Immediately after campus, just 2024.
How old were you?
23.
23.
Yeah.
So it ranges from 20, ama nimesema internship, hiyo si kazi. Lakini si bado ni kuingia kwa job market and trying to get some experience.
Yes.
But Stanley also made a very good point that it's the discipline that matters, Levi. I wonder if it resonates with you, and how do you interpret this particular statement here? That it doesn't matter the amount of money that you save, but as long as you're disciplined with it. I wonder if, for example, I was disciplined with just saving 5 Kenyan shillings, what will that do, you know, for me in the long term? How does that resonate with you?
Okay, I partly agree with what Stanley is saying.
Yeah.
Because even the basic buffers can save us in the rainy days. And as we encourage people to have like maybe 3 to 6 months of savings, some people may not be in a position to do that. But we encourage people to save at least something, even if it's 50, 100 or something, it will cover for times that we have uncertainties. But having said that, I can also say that no amount of financial discipline can actually improve our savings culture in terms of, okay, when we compare the incomes that most, say, Kenyans earn, because we are experiencing stagnant incomes, then we are experiencing high cost of living, high taxes, like on essential commodities like fuel, food. So if you don't have disposable income, it brings the Keynesian concept of the marginal propensity to consume and the marginal propensity to save. So the marginal propensity to consume is the fraction of the additional income that you are willing to spend. On the other hand, the marginal propensity to save is the fraction of the additional income that you are willing to save. So if your income is little, then you'll end up not having a choice between saving and spending, but choosing between essentials. And definitely that is surviving. Yeah.
I was just trying to find that data here, because we have data that was released. A lot of Kenyans are earning between 50,000 Kenyan shillings and below. As a range iko hapo. But Stanley, Levi here, first of all, are you against saving or are you for saving? Because kwenye naona unaenda kama unatu discourage from saving. Let's just start there.
No, I'm not discouraging from saving, but I'm just talking about the economic reality. You know, financial literacy is essential for everyone, yeah? And everyone is encouraged to save, however small. But we are also looking at the economic reality, the bigger picture, like however much we are trying to save, but if your income is meager, then definitely you are ending up in survival mode.
Levi, are you saving money?
Yeah, I do save. I do save. Yeah, I do save.
I think that's nice if you do save. Yeah. Because karibu nianze kukujudge, but we listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
Stanley, you know, Levi is saying no amount of discipline, of saving discipline can save us, you know. And I just want you as somebody who, ama nimekumisquote. That is what you said. No amount of saving discipline can save us.
Not can save us, but can beat the
realities.
The real economic realities, like in terms of the economic policies that are currently we are currently experiencing in terms of taxation, in terms of the cost of living generally.
So Stanley, looking at this 50,000 people, or not people, people earning 50,000 Kenyan shillings and below, right? And of course the economic realities, we have taxes, we have you know, so the economy is also going up kidogo, even if you don't realize it. How do we now build a saving culture in this dynamic where the economy, the salaries that we're getting are not quite sustainable, especially for people living in Nairobi, where, you know, maisha iko huko juu. If you want to get, right now, 1-bedroom houses, you get a decent one, goes for 20,000 Kenyan shillings, if I'm not wrong. Then how do we build a saving culture?
I love the discussion. And the biggest question I want to ask or throw a spanner into the works to Levi is who is in control? Because you determine your destiny. You define where you want to go. And today, whether you earn 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, you will have a future which needs to be taken care of. And so you need to determine today where you are in terms of income. And you must live below that income at all times. Okay? It is not about the economy. It's about you, the individual. It's about you, the person. And we say financial planning is personal, it is individual. I am not going to leave your status if I cannot afford. And if I do, I'm committing suicide. And so it is a must for me to put aside something for tomorrow. So if I earn 50,000, I know 20,000 is for the future, 30,000 is for the current. Whatever I'm going to do, I need to plan. And so you determine your expenses and your standards depending on your income. Okay? And priority, we say one of the strategies of ensuring financial wealth or wellness is you pay yourself first. How do you pay yourself first? Put aside money for tomorrow, not for today. Because you can manage today. You don't know how tomorrow will be. We had a discussion yesterday with some people and we were saying, whether you are a farmer, house help, you're a carpenter, you're a doctor, old age will come. The future will come. Who is going to take care of it? You. Now here, we can hype each other and say, we must live at this level of a standard. But 20 years, 40 years from today, I shall not have you anywhere near me to take care of me if you succeeded and I did not. And so the discipline to start saving, no matter what the economy standards are, is a must. Secondly, we did some maths. If you are able to put just 1,000 shillings, 1,000, we can even use a money market fund at 10% for 40 years. Just 1,000 for 40 years, compounded at 10%. Do you know how much it will be?
How much?
6.5 million. So
for 40 years?
For 40 years, which is our working life. So when you start working and you are paid 30,000, you can afford 1,000.
I'll come back and tell you something with regard to what you've said. But Benedict, are you saving? And walk us through, how possible it is to build, a saving culture when somebody is earning just so little and all they have to do is just survive.
Okay. First, you have to analyze on your expenses. If your expenses are too high, work on the basics. Prioritize the basic needs first. And also, what I can say, we ought to have some money for emergency. So despite the little that we are earning, just set aside. We always say the 50-30-20 rule, budget rule, but it doesn't apply everywhere because sometimes you get the money that you are getting is a bit low. So despite it being low, you ought to save a little. Let's say you are earning 30,000 and your expenditures are an estimate of maybe 20,000. At least save, even if it's 5% of that. 5% of that is 6,000. Because in case, for instance, right now, you get an emergency. Let's say you get sick and maybe you don't have a medical cover, or maybe your phone gets stolen. Will you opt for a mobile loan or lending from your friends rather than saving small and utilizing the money that you had saved to purchase that? Yeah.
That's very insightful. Keeping in mind that we're at an age where digital lending apps are at our disposal. Kila mtu anaona zinakuwa advertised everywhere. But Levi, I'd love to understand how your saving culture looks like and how you built it, right? You are a finance and analytics professional, right?
Yes,
and I
yes.
know for you to get here, you had to, you know, get somewhere. You had to start somewhere for you to get somewhere.
Yes.
So walk us through how that saving culture was built.
Okay, basically saving and investing to me have occurred at the same time, simultaneously.
Saving and investing.
And investing.
Okay.
Yes. So as much as I need that liquidity, but I've been able to set aside some little amount that maybe will be able to finance my projects, to finance my schooling, to finance my maybe anything that I want to do. Maybe I want to maybe invest in stocks or something. I've been able to do that. But at the same time, I've been able to gradually invest. Yeah, with the little that I have, I've been able to invest little by little. Because when resources are scarce, you cannot say that maybe you are just saving, or you are waiting for it to get to a certain amount for me to invest. So I've tried as much as possible. The little that I save, I'm able to also invest some little of it. Yes, yes.
Unajua say kuna platforms kama, for example, just to mention Mshwari because this is well known.
Yeah.
Mtu anaweka Mshwari, maisha inamgonga kidogo, anatoa, anarudisha back to M-Pesa and then anaendelea na maisha. And I'm just wondering, how can the young people now, you know, do away with that behavior? Because hii ni kitu iko and we see it online sana sana. You see mtu anasema niliweka 500 bob Mshwari. By jioni ashatoa, amerudisha tu M-Pesa, ndio aende afanye nayo shughuli moja mbili. Stanley, you were talking about, you know, saving 40 years because that is our working timeline. But you know the mindset of the now generation, and I'm saying this because I'm very, very active on X to begin with, and I see these conversations there. Mtu anasema, how do they save now for a future that maybe they will not be here to, you know, enjoy? 40 years. By the time mtu amework for these 40 years, I'm assuming they are 70, they are 80 there, you know. So how do you encourage this person now just to convince them that, you know, there's better at the end of the tunnel, right? That even if you have to save for these 40 years, you're going to get that 6.5 million, but you're going to also live and enjoy this 6.5 million that you're going to, you know, you'll have invested and saved up after 40 years. How do you walk them through this particular, you know, scenario and change their mindset to better at the end of the day?
I think we need to demystify that longevity is one of the objectives of investments. What if you live to 100 and you ate everything at 40?
What if you don't?
If you don't, the Bible instructs us to leave an inheritance for our children's children. Not even our children, our children's children. What is it talking about? It's talking about longevity. Okay, so planning is critical. And we are not saying you sacrifice your today for tomorrow. We are saying you plan your today for tomorrow. We are saying you live within your means so that you can afford something to set aside. It's a mental coding that we must record in our minds. This is how life has been set. Now the young people are enjoying life because their parents struggled to do something. They actually sacrificed. Now they are forgetting we were young at some point. Okay? We were 15, we were 20, now we are 50 plus. Okay? When I was 20, my parents were 50 and I used to think they are too old. Now I wonder what my children look at me and say. But you see, I have to plan for myself as I plan for their children's children, not for my children, because it's a command. And so we must look at life in a very positive way. If I earn 40,000, I do not have to pay 20,000 for a one bedroom in Kilimani. I can live where I can afford. I should not, or I should avoid peer pressure, because my sister here lives in Muthaiga. I want to live in Muthaiga. I don't know our means. I should live within and around my means, so that I can afford a life for today and a life for tomorrow. So it's about commitment, it's about goal setting, it's about planning. And there is a very good analogy given. What determines the other? Does diet determine destiny, or does destiny determine diet? Okay? And we always say diet doesn't determine destiny. It is destiny that will determine the diet that I will use. If I'm 50 kgs, I want to be 70 kgs, then my destiny is 70 kgs. And then I look for the diet that feeds me to that. So today, you want to determine your tomorrow. You need to set the tomorrow goal today, so that you have a plan towards that. So in a nutshell, I'm saying we do not have an option. Savings is supposed to be part of our lives. And as we progress, then we start looking for investment opportunities. Because here, we need to learn. What is it that we need to save for? And why? But two, when can we start investing? And what are the risks on any investment opportunity that comes? Can it wipe away everything that I have set aside? I need to determine if I have the risk appetite for that opportunity. Or is it going to add too much value to me with no risk? I need to optimize that opportunity.
So it's either we save or we save. No,
it's either we save or we save.
Lakini is that really realistic? In 2026, right? I want us to put ourselves in the shoes, you know, of a young person, a 25-year-old Kenyan right now, you know, anajaribu to live within his or her means in Nairobi, yeah, just to, you know, create a living for, you know, themselves, right? Lakini akona hii 40,000 Kenyan shillings. Ataki kuishi place where it's considered a slum. Anataka kuishi comfortable. They want to go partying. They want to, because that is the age for all that shenanigans. We were all there. But now, is that realistic for them in this day and age?
So maybe I top up on what he's saying. You see, what Stanley is saying is true, but now we are considering the current generation of young people. You see, like most young people nowadays, say for instance, engaging in crypto trading, in forex trading, it's not because they are greedy or impatient. It's because the traditional investments are not yielding returns, or they are yielding very low returns. And that's why when there are low returns, say on savings or on some investments, people tend to move to risky investments. And that's what is pushing the young people. So it's just that we don't understand how the young people are, but they are trying to avoid the traditional way of doing things. Like, okay, our parents used to do savings, but look at the statistics recently, a report of 2025, like returns on savings really dropped. So
Kenyans are not saving.
Even savings have dropped from 5.1% to 3.8% if you check a recent report for year 2025. And therefore, also the returns on savings are very little. So if the returns on savings are very little, people will tend to try and find alternative ways to invest their money. Because there are no alternatives that may be accessible and that are trusted. Now that's why you see young people engaging in things like crypto and forex.
For quick money.
For quick money. But it's not that they are greedy. It's just that they are trying to shy away from the traditional way of doing things.
Benedict, do you think and I'm coming to you, Stanley, on that point that you were to respond to. Do you think the education that we are now getting about money is enough for the current generation, right? And I know financial literacy is something that right now is quite accessible. A lot of people on social media are talking about money. I've also seen somebody from where you work also very passionate about money. I'm also passionate about talking money, matters money. But is that education enough from where you sit, Benedict?
I don't think it's enough. We ought to educate them more, because most young people are not embracing saving at all. They are living for the moment. Yeah. So what I can say is we should advocate for financial literacy to the young people, and also encourage them to start by doing this short-term savings. Once they do the short-term savings, they'll see the need of saving. Because let's say someone saves in something like money market. Once they open a money market account and maybe they consistently save for 6 months or 1 year, and assuming that this person doesn't withdraw the money within that period of time, at the end of that period, they'll see the need of saving, and they'll build the saving culture, and now they'll be able to invest. Yeah.
So start small. That is what you say.
Okay.
That is a very good point. I think I like it, because if you start saving with, you know, say a month, and then one umepanda, and then you also add something else in 2 weeks, and then you build it. But now, Stanley, let's come back and put ourselves in the shoe and the mind of Gen Z. Gen Alpha wamefika age ya kusave kweli? Bado, si ndio? Tujieke kwa kiatu ya Gen Z. Is it really possible in Nairobi to build that? I know places like, for example, Kisumu, say Mombasa, they say life is slow there. Say Nakuru, I don't know, Homa Bay, life is very expensive. But looking at places like Kisumu, where I come from, that will be manageable with 40,000 Kenyan shillings to save. Because in Kisumu, you'll even find a 1-bedroom going for 8,000 Kenyan shillings, a very beautiful house. But in Nairobi, is that doable?
Yes, it is doable, depending on what we have positioned in our minds. And I want maybe to pick from the question you had asked my sister here. Are we doing enough in terms of financial literacy? I would say no. Because we need to build this into the curriculum so that we start this from a young age, so people grow with it. The way we did CRA in primary school, and others did Islam and others other. To date, the things that we learned make sense. So if we brought financial literacy into the curriculum, we are going to change the way things look today. Secondly, let me use an analogy of a Gen Z group. One of them being my son, who there are about, I think, 6 of them. And they started saving, but they pulled together. They said, for us to check on each other, we need to do 4,000 shillings every month. Last weekend, they were celebrating 1 year of consistency of putting 4,000 each. And they are proud saying,
it's
now,
like a chama.
It's like a chama.
Okay.
But they are pulled, and each one checks on each other to make sure that they are able to
contribute.
I asked them, what if someone doesn't have? They borrow from the other to pay for that month, and they sort themselves out. So it goes further to discipline, consistency, and commitment. Can we do it? And I asked them, does anyone owe any other person? They said no. So are we saying Gen Zs cannot do it? They can do it at 500 shillings level. They can do it at 100 shillings level. What matters is, have we started? So once we start, once we become consistent, once we become build discipline and commitment, we shall take our young people to where they should be. And so to me, and I said, you are in control of your expenses. At any given, you will live where you want to be. I know we have some level of communities where we say YOLO. You only live for?
You only live once.
Yeah, which is true. But you live once, and then
And then unakula mfupa hadi kama
Now,
Unakufa.
if we had a repeat today, if we had a repeat of COVID 2019, what is life going to be like? We've not saved. We had 2 good years of lock-in. How many people lost their jobs? Many. How many were able to survive? All of us survived, but in different circumstances. So why we say it is important to consistently put some money aside, and you need a cover of not 3 to 6 months, you need a cover of 6 to 24 months for you to be comfortable to say, now I can risk any other money that I get. Because that can cover you for 24 months if the worst happened. And how do we do that? We look for vehicles and they are there. Now, the issue Levi was bringing out in terms of going for risky ventures for higher returns, you need knowledge. You need to understand every opportunity of investment and what risk it carries. I have seen young people cry. They have borrowed some 500,000, put in cryptocurrency or Forex, and it's wiped.
Is that more of a betting scheme, or it's an investment?
No, it's actually an investment, but you need the knowledge.
You need, yeah.
What is important is, how does it work? Do you understand it? Do you know there is a risk you can't take as a person? My risk appetite, his risk appetite, your risk appetite, we are totally different because our circumstances are different. And so we need to understand ourselves and our money. I always say, you must build a relationship, an intimate one with your money. That is when it makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
That brings me to the point of money language. Do you believe money has a language, Levi?
Yeah, sure.
And what is the language of money? What does money understand? Kwanza nilisikia mtu akisema it actually has a personality. And I like to use this term every time I'm having this show and I'm talking about money, that tumia pesa ikuzoe. There was a time it worked for me. I used to use it and somehow, somewhere, it came back tenfold. Personality of money and the language of money. From your own understanding, how do you interpret that?
Okay, the way I look at it is that anyone needs to budget their money. They need to track their expenses to know where their money is going. Yeah? So if your money is going on spending alone, and yet you have nothing to save or invest, then you are sitting in a very dangerous position. Yes.
So kuna mtu aliniambia pia tumia ikuzoe, utaitumia and then ni wewe sasa itakuja ikuhit baadaye. But Benedict, have you invested before? You know, when we're getting into this conversation of savings and now investment, is this something that you got into after saving, or were you saving and investing at the same time? Are you investing?
Okay, on my hand, I first started with saving because I didn't have that culture before. Actually, if I knew about, if I was financially literate while in campus, I think by the time I was graduating, I would have built a good portfolio. So now after it now dawned on me after campus, now you have to build for yourself something. And since I joined a financial institution, I got to learn more about savings. So at first I started with short term. I saved at least for 6 months consistently. After seeing it working for me, I decided to opt for a long term, because we always say that the younger you are, you get to enjoy the compounding factor, because the younger you are, the higher the returns that you'll get. So recently I'm investing. I'm doing a long term. I'm looking forward at by 2036 to use that money at that moment.
2036.
Yeah.
So there has to be a goal when you're saving, right?
Yeah, you have to attach a goal to every coin.
All right. Stanley, realistically, is it impossible, or is it possible rather, to save and invest at the same time? Ninaweka hapo 1,000 yangu kila siku ama monthly. Is it possible to save and invest?
Yes and no. You asked what is the language of money.
You wanted me to ask you that question, the language of money.
And the language of money is save me today, I will serve you tomorrow. So savings is about putting money aside consistently. Now you're trying to build a buffer. Now once you stabilize your buffer, you get now the opportunity to invest. Because with savings, we are saying there is zero or minimal risk of any fluctuations of your money. You're actually just building, okay? Now, as we build, we say, build somewhere that it can maintain the value of your money. Now, maintaining the value of your money, you're saying, on the minimum, have some little return which covers inflation. So that the shilling of today can be the shilling of 10 years from today. Now, once you get to the level of that buffer, you've built an emergency. You don't risk with that money. That money is put somewhere where it is maintaining value and giving you some small return. Then you come and now study what other opportunities are there, and do I have money which can take some amount of risk with investing? Because with investing, we are talking about now growth. We are talking about, I have 1 million shillings, I want this million to be 7 million or 10 million. Then what opportunities are there? Then you need to analyze and set your goals, both short term, medium term, and long term. What are you investing for? Because sometimes we invest in vehicles, we have already actualized the maximum opportunity in that vehicle, but we leave it, and then it starts depleting. Okay? So there's some little knowledge that we might need to pass across to our young people and Kenyans in general, that you need to understand the assets that are available and for what goal. For example, he's talked about buying shares. We don't just buy shares, we buy the opportunity for a return in that company that is selling those shares. Okay? And so we must be able to understand that every company has an upside or an opportunity for growth. For this year, we can say, we can use Nation Media Group, for example, say there's an opportunity for growth of the price of that share of 20%, for example. Now, when we get to 20%, we need to reevaluate. Is the opportunity over, or it has generated another opportunity? If there is nothing, and the likelihood is that performance is going to go downwards, we need to sell. We actualize the investment return. Okay? Then we move to another opportunity. Now that is where all of us have failed, because we invest, but we never realize value when it has accrued, okay, or crystallized. So that knowledge is what now we need to pass across, that every time you put your money aside, you must be asking yourself, why am I doing it? For what? And then, what was I investing for? I was investing to buy a car. I bought shares worth $1 million. They have gone to 3 million. My car was worth 2.5 million. I sell, I buy my car, I move on. I look for another opportunity and put my money in. But you cannot do one asset forever without analyzing and evaluating where you are.
Interesting money tips there. But was it easy for you, Levi, when you were saving and investing? Unasema wewe you save and invest at the same time. Is that actually an easy way to go? Ama for somebody who is starting, realistically speaking, should I save fast and invest? Ama it's just safe to save and invest at the same time?
I think it's not either or. Yeah, it should happen at the same time.
Zote at the same time?
Yes, because when you say you are saving, then you are going to invest maybe in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. I think your money will not be working for you. So as much as you are putting something in your buffer, then you also should be making more money in the process. Gradually. You start small, even if you are getting 50 shillings out of the 200 shillings you invested, it's worth it rather than waiting for whatever you saved to actually mature, then maybe start investing after 3 years. So you just start small with whatever you have. You save the little, then you try to invest something. Maybe you buy, you go to the market, buy some second-hand clothes, and maybe you can be able to get a profit of, from maybe 1,000, you can get 300. That is something that is making you have liquidity, and which you know you need to be able to maybe cater for your expenses and other things. So I'll encourage everyone to try as much as possible to do saving and investing at the same time.
But you have to save first. It boils down to saving first.
In principle, that is. But if you want to grow, then you have to look for ways you can move forward.
Liva atatoa wapi pesa ya kuinvest kama haja save?
Listen, you are earning 1,000 shillings. You are saving 100 shillings.
Yes.
The rest, you're not spending all of it. You take 200 shillings, buy something that you know maybe I'm going to make 50 out of it. So you're balancing.
Benedict teaches how to create an emergency fund for somebody who now earns 40,000 Kenyan shillings. And I'm using 40,000 because Stanley used that example somewhere, in the course of this conversation. 40,000 Kenyan shillings, living a comfortable life, bado anaweza fanya sherehe. Kumbuka, we are having the young person in mind. We are not looking at, the older generation this morning. Anataka aende sherehe, anataka aishi vizuri, aishi hiyo nyumba mzuri kabisa. Also invest and also tengeneze this emergency fund that we're talking about. How does he or she now create that?
Okay, for 40,000, now we're assuming this young person doesn't have other responsibilities like black tax, or should we consider it?
We should, lakini unajua kulikuwa na report inasema Gen Zs are not sending money home. So let's ignore black tax.
Okay. Now for 40,000, since this person doesn't have responsibilities right now, assuming this person doesn't have a family, right? They're only working to sustain themselves. They can apply the 50-30, 20 rule. That is, the 50% goes to the expenditures. For 40,000, now we are looking at 20,000.
That is rent and everything, expenditure.
For 20,000, if you don't have responsibilities right now, maybe you can go for a bed sitter. A decent bed sitter right now goes between 8,000 to 12,000. So let's say this person takes 10,000 bed sitter. We are left with 10K for the expenditures. A young person, definitely they don't have a car, so they're spending also on transport. So while looking at where they are renting, they should consider the distance. So if, for example, you are working at maybe in a CBD, look at somewhere where the transport, that is fair, it's manageable. Don't stay in a place that you're paying like 150. Spending 150 to and fro, that's 300. In a month, that's around 9K. Already you've exhausted the money for expenses. So first, they should live within their means and consider the place that they are staying, so that they might be able to have something for themselves. Also, it all depends, you know, we have different needs and also different goals. Like, for example, we might be working and earning the same salary, but if you are getting 50K or 40K, for me 50K might not be enough for me, and maybe for you, you are able to cater for your needs and save. So for this person, for this young person earning 40,000, set aside at least, if you won't manage, I know 20,000 for all your expenditures might be a bit tricky. Maybe we extend to 30,000. Now we are left with the 10%. 10% of 40K. This is basically 4K.
Yes.
If this person saves the 4K, let them just start with something like money market. I like using the example of money market because it motivates someone to build the saving culture. But also while investing in a money market fund, look for options and also analyze the company that you are investing in. Don't just jump into a company and you've not looked at the history of the company.
Due diligence.
And also consider being consistent. You know, for money market, it's not a fixed account, it's open, so you can automate it. Nowadays we have Mratiba. If you set your Mratiba to be deducting, if you're earning monthly 40K, if you get money at the end of the month, you can set Mratiba to be deducting the 4K directly. If you set it, you won't feel the pain and pain of saving, because it will just be deducting. You know, Mratiba works like Fuliza. If you're Fulized, you know.
But good Fuliza.
Yeah, it's a good Fuliza because you're saving for the future, and also it's helping you to build the saving culture.
We are learning, and I hope everyone watching is learning this morning. Sidhani kama mtu angejua kuna kitu kama Mratiba that works the same way Fuliza works and just deducts for you so that you can save. Stanley, walk us through the investment options and opportunities that are safer for somebody who just started touching money and they're looking for safer options to start with.
I will do that and join in what she said. And the 50-30-20 rule is very critical for any human being, regardless of age. Because we say...
And regardless of the money you're getting.
Regardless of the money you're getting. Because we say 50% should go to your basic needs. Now that covers your rent, your food, your clothing, everything. 30% goes to your wants. Those things that you must do but you don't have to do. You know, entertainment, clubbing, what you were saying earlier. Okay? Those are the ones. And then in budgeting, we call, there's a strategy we call the envelope strategy, where you divide your money into envelopes. And once one is depleted, that spend is gone. For that month, you suspend anything on that line. And if it is a must, you then borrow from the other envelope for refund in the next cycle. Okay? Then you readjust that monthly depending on how things go. And then the last 20% is for your saving. So whether you like it or not, the structure is there. If you're earning 10,000, it works. If you're earning 50, it works. $1 million, it works. Okay? And so I think it is important. Now, when we come to the available opportunities for, we are talking about safety here. So the journey is you earn, you save. We say savings, you can do either in a bank savings account, but because the return in the bank is not as commensurate and compensating as it should be, then we recommend you start a money market, small time. We have about 52 money markets in the country. Just try one. Okay, Lofty Coban, we have one. So try one. All of us are regulated properly. As long as you see a regulated money market, go in, but establish that they are properly regulated. We only compete on service and return.
How about interest?
That is the return.
Same?
No, it's not same.
No.
That's why that is where we compete in.
Ah.
Okay? But the structure is the same. Okay? The capital markets regulates this. Before you're licensed, you're given how and where to invest the money. If you violate, then of course you are sanctioned. And so we have the safest avenues as money markets. Okay? Now there's no money market which has ever collapsed world over. You can do that research. So people should stop fearing. And we are not competitors in the market. We are complementers. We support each other in the market. Secondly, the money market, of course, is very critical because it guarantees you an interest on a monthly basis, but an interest which you must check that it is beating inflation and giving you some real return on top of it. So once you find you are above the inflation and you're getting some good return, then you look for that. After that, then we go to the next level. And the next class of assets is bonds. And you'll find in investment side, where we talk about collective investment schemes, we talk about the bond funds or fixed income funds. Okay? Which, of course, their objective is income. The money market, the objective is capital preservation and some amount of maintaining the value of your money. And then from fixed income funds, we go now to shares. And from a collective investment schemes or unit trust schemes, we have what we call the equity funds. Now, the way they graduate, the volatility changes. So the amount of risk that is potential changes. Almost zero from money market, rising slightly because of bonds valuation. And then equities, they could be up, they could be down. You can have $1 million and it is 400. You can have $1 million and it is 5 million, depending on. And that's why we said your risk appetite is important. Your time or tenor is important. Your return, what you're looking for, is important. And your participation is also important. Do you want to be active or you want to give it to someone else to do it? But most important is look for professionals to do this for you.
All right.
Don't try to do it for yourself.
All right, we've come to the end of this conversation.
Thank you.
But I want to also just ask our viewers to allow us to continue this conversation online. And of course, for future conversations, we start off from that point of investment, right? Safer investment options for all of us, if at all we are starting off in the investment journey. Levi Mulase, finance and analytic professional, was our guest this morning, alongside Benedict Mwikali, a financial advisor, and of course Stanley Mutuku, CEO of Tikoban, speaking to us about saving and investments. Are the young people saving? Talk to us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On YouTube, it's TV47 Matukio, or Matukio Halisi, I beg your pardon. Our WhatsApp line is also active at 0793-267-279. My name is Anne Odida. Good morning. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early. But stay right here because Fred is coming back with a conversation on tech, with men in tech. So do stay right here. You're watching TV47 Breakfast.
Kama invite yangu haikufika on time.